Welcome to the next best of 5 of this evening. We're on Odyssey, spawning to the bottom right hand corner in teal, playing Zerg for my risk in Germany. It's Schnubiiii. And to the top left in yellow, playing Terran for Eastwarm and Mexico. It's Grizzly. It's the Grizz. So, we already talked about Odyssey. Unfortunately, just mistyped the Scarbot Zergling. So close. But not close enough. Might just do it once more. So, Schnubiiii and Grizzly. I think they actually had an interesting series last season. But there it is. Schnubiiii going for the hatchery first, while Grizzly is going for the refinery build before the barracks, which is quite interesting here. So we might actually see some early tech shenanigans here. Probably a Reaper later on, but maybe a fast factory right behind it. Could be a one-base build for Grizzly. So let's see. SCV scouting. We'll see the natural base and then the spawning pool, and that everything has be the usual standard build for Terran, for Zerg, never mind. So Reaper on the way. Orbital gets morphed or transformed. So Grizzly getting a good scout, sees everything she wants to see. Will try to build a base on the low ground, and only after that tech into a factory probably. With all that gas, wouldn't really know what else she wants to do. So she can actually afford to get this command center down here. No, it's actually going into barracks. So it's going to be the usual 2-1-1. But yeah, maybe... Okay, and using the gas for the reactor here. Yeah, actually getting the gas a little bit too early, I feel. So don't really know if it was really necessary to get that refinery beforehand. But whatever. So she can actually afford to take this command center on the low ground since she scouted that her opponent went hatch first, and will take Lings a little bit of time in order to get over here. So once the first attack wave of Lings will be out, she will always be able to produce a few Marines out of these barracks. And the Reaper, of course, where is it? Where's the Reaper? The Reaper, of course, should also be able to keep the opponents of Schnubiiii back a little bit. Unless, of course, a Zerg player would commit to a lot of Zerglings and would just send them across the map, maybe even taking a different route in order to get to your base so that the Reaper will not scout it. So evading the Reaper and then just running into their natural base, which is fairly often a way to punish a Terran who wants to build a command center on the low ground. So not too many Zergs do it, but if you do it, you're just being almost as annoying as Miyako. So, in the meantime, we have Zerglings in position for Schnubiiii, trying to get all the watchtowers. A misclick for this little Ling over here, so it's positioned on the high ground and not close to the watchtower. Might realize that a little bit later. Reaper trying to work on that hatchery over here. Good luck, my friend. Not going to work all too well. In the meantime, Grizzly managed to get rid of the first few Lings with her 2 Marines and has a bunker in place now. Will eventually seal this area off with a few more depots while tacking behind it into, as we said, the 2-1-1, meaning you build 2 barracks first and then 1 factory and then 1 starport. And that's why it's called 2-1-1 for all of you guys out there who do not play StarCraft that often. Or you just want to learn new things, because learning is all I'm about. In the meantime, we have a Roachhorn incoming for Schnubiiii here. Maybe for Roach Ravager attacks, maybe only as a safety measure in order to be able to produce roaches. If a big Hellion timing or Hellbat timing could be incoming. But I actually think that Schnubiiii will eventually go into more and more roaches. I think her ZvT, if I'm not mistaken, is revolving more around Roach Ravager and not so much about Lingbane Muta. Since Lingbane Muta is a little bit more difficult to play, you have to have very good control over unit. It needs a lot of micro not to run into mines or into tanks straight away, attacking all the right angles, defending against drops. If your opponent plays bio, which Grizzly always does, Grizzly likes to play her bio-tank mix in this matchup, and Schnubiiii knows about that. Know that Schnubiiii watches her opponent's replays and tries to prepare a little bit for them, as much as she can. So she will know Grizzly style. I mean, Grizzly style hasn't changed that much throughout the season, so every player who's attended at least one season... Oh, nice little scout there by Schnubiiii, getting all the medivacs right away. 60 Marine drop incoming. Should know how Grizzlies plays. So, yeah. Wants to defend with Road Ravager, a little bit more sturdy against mine play, but of course has a little bit is a little bit weak against drop play, because you just don't have that much anti-air in order to shoot these pesky medevacs down. Only queens and maybe spores, but a good Terran will never move medevac right into spores. So yeah, she has all the movements around. Grizzly sees that there's no real place where she can unload. Will try to do nevertheless. Don't really know if I like it, but of course she can always just reload and fly away. Maybe even getting one drone over here. Okay, runs right into the roaches here. And actually, whoa! That's a lot of marine firepower against these roaches. So it seems as if Schnubiiii just underestimated the mighty power of the 16 marines. Will just drop into that base, and of course now she can just run around all the time, just load in once more, dropping them down into the main base. Will she do it? Will she do it? Yes, she, no, she, yes, she, no, she. Okay, no, she will not do it. Flies out with the 2 medevacs here. Could have just unloaded once more, making all of these units moving around again, but there's the reinforcement. So she's already forced Schnubiiii into making more and more units instead of drones, so an additional victory to shooting down all of these roaches. Of course, as a Terran, you usually don't want to kill that many units early on in the game. It's better to kill drones and the economy and maybe even tech buildings of a Zerg player. But of course, if you get at least something with your drop done, and also time in addition to that, to just prepare for another huge-ass push towards the 3rd base, that's always a good thing to do. So, and for Schnubiiii just moves right into the army, unsuspecting that it was up there, but retreats as soon as she sees what's coming. Only has a few banelings and a lot of lings around, but that will not suffice in order to take down this army and this position that's fortified by tanks here. 2nd tank not in the best position, but of course if you want to retreat into this position, then it's actually positioned perfectly. But yeah, now just unsieges it, wants to bring it closer towards the hatchery, will easily take it out. In the meantime, Schnubiiii just retreats with everything, tries to gather her forces at her natural base. This has to be the deciding fight. She needs to actually crush these forces and retake a 3rd base somewhere. Is trying to do it over here with the, as I said, I think less mineral patches, but I will have to count that once more. And now just doing the beautiful move of flying right into the main base, getting a fortified position with 1 tank on the high ground and 1 tank on the low ground. So even these lings trying to come in closer to that tank will just take additional shots by the tank down here. Grizzly eventually decides to move in, does not want to lose any more units, will lose this tank, but still has done tremendous amounts of damage already, while trying a little bit to macro at home. There's a small force, she's already taking a 3rd behind it, while still pressuring her opponent, keeping her tucked back. No way that Schnubiiii can actually be aggressive at any point in time. I mean, she cannot even choose a few links to send them across the map towards the 3rd base just to do some counter-harassment here. It's just not going to work. And now, unfortunately, morphing the Ravagers in the most problematic of positions here. The Marines... Okay, well, they will eventually get out. They might even get a medevac. No, just barely not. And now should be finally able to clear this push up, not before another small army moves towards the natural base. So let's see what Schnubiiii can actually do. She has a lot of Ravagers around, and but also a lot of medevacs there for Grizzly. And medevacs, I mean, if like almost all of the units have their single medevac, then it will become pretty difficult to shoot these units down if you just don't have the burst damage in order to kill them before they can get healed back up. But of course now Schnubiiii is being forced even further back into a natural base. Tanks in position, will even get off a few more additional shots. Grizzly will have to move back eventually, just retreats for now. But yeah, like I said, I mean, that's the biggest problem with Roach Ravager. You just don't have anything except Queens in order to shoot down these Medivacs, and Grizzly will just get more and more and more of them, is even still producing here. I mean, she could actually switch into Liberator tech, I think, although, of course, Liberators are not that good against Ravagers. But in addition, I mean, instead of producing more and more Medivacs, these are already 11 of them. So, yeah, I think Liberators would be quite nice right now. So, Grizzly just waiting for the next wave of units to come in. No tanks this time around. Well, one, but it just takes its sweet time in order to cross the map. In the meantime, Schnubiiii has managed to get her third base up again and has a little saturated a little bit at least. But if we just have a look at the income, well, not that far behind her opponent, but her opponent, of course, had the third base with a lot of mules working on these minerals. So there's the big attack. I think, I mean, Schnubiiii really needs a decisive victory in order to come back into this game. If she loses this force without actually killing her opponent, then it's over for sure. If she only kills it just barely, it's still over because the follow-up push will eventually kill her. And if she loses this engagement, which it seems she will, then the game will end right here and now. Now we can realize that the base is over here. Puts it under fire as well. Schnubiiii at least gets a good baiting detonation over into the main army, but the units are still not dead, desperately giving her best to make the units retreat, but at the same time so many drones are dying over at the third hand base. She's just prolonging the inevitable here, it seems. Another tank is just incoming. Grizzly realized that she might not be able to break through yet, retreats into her sieged up tank. And now the Roaches have to fight against the anti-Roach army, Marauders and tanks, plus Medivacs. No way to break through this. And the rest of the army walks across the map. There's the long streamline of yellow units marching towards Schnubiii's base. And this is it. GG. Grizzly takes the first game. Abyssal Reef is the second map in this best of 5. We have Schnubiiii to the top left as Zerk, and Grizzly to the bottom right in yellow as Terran. Walling off Abyssal Reef, one of the older maps, or let's say one of the maps from last season of the StarCraft ladder season. So, Schnubiiii will probably go into hatch first. We haven't seen her doing anything cheesy in any of her games, I guess. Always going for the good old standard build. While Grizzly wants to scout with her SCV, wants to see if her opponent, against all we know about her, indeed wants to metagame her and go for an early pool, which he doesn't, but Grizzly will find out soon enough. So barracks still in the making, hatchery evoluting, and the spawning pool right behind it. Good stuff, good stuff. Well, she already brings her overlords into position, so she will be able to later get a good scout of the important parts of her opponent's base. So, checking all the edges, all the outskirts. Actually wants to put the SCV into a little corner there in order to use it to scout later on, although she doesn't really need to do that since she will have the Reaper anyways in order to scout, but got the spawning pool timing and everything, so doesn't need to be worried about her fancy little command center. Shiny new at the natural position, gets the SCV instead towards the third base position, so we'll be able to see whether her opponent wants to build a base over here or not. I usually like to put this on patrol move, so even if a drone comes, it will just have to nibble it away before it can actually plant down the base. If you're a player that's quick enough, of course. Ooh, even getting a drone, you might even be getting another one. No. Not this one, not this one. Lings are incoming. The queen is already there. So only, I think it should only be 1 kill on that Reaper, and it is. So yeah, if you put this one on patrol, move, a drone will not come in and drive it away, and then we'll be able to place the base over here. It doesn't really matter since the Zerglings come in now and will nibble away that SCV anyways. But that might tell Schnubiiii that her opponent plans on taking this base. Will take Grizzly, sorry, that Schnubiiii tries to take that base anyways, so she knows that a third is very probably going up, sends in the Reaper once more in order to make really sure that indeed a third base is coming up and not some sort of Roach Ravager timing push, maybe. So we'll probably exhale very calmed by this fact that there's a third base going down. Could of course still be metagaming her, just showing her the third base and then cancelling it and going into Roach Ravager anyways. Mind games, ladies and gentlemen. Mind games. Not being played. So there's a bunker, right? I saw a bunker incoming. No, actually it's only depots trying to wall this area off. I think a bunker would still be a nice idea, but of course she saw the third base is not all afraid of an early push incoming. And that's why she can just keep these Marines out in the open, letting them breathe some fresh water. Because this is an undersea map. Under the sea, under the sea. And unfortunately I watched the movie in German, so I can't really sing the English language version of this song. Not that I can sing anyways. So, hatchery being morphed into a lair. I think Schnubiiii will probably just try to get into a Roach Ravager-based composition once more. Like I said, she's not really the type of going into Lingbane Muta, but maybe with all of these links she might prove me wrong. A lot of Banelings incoming, so maybe eventually she wants to transition. We will see if there's a Spire going down after this lair has finished. She has enough resources for a Spire, is not building it yet, rather wants to have a few more units, since she's probably expecting this 16 Marine drop, because also Grizzly is not changing her plans at all, going for the same tactic once more, and has been playing the same tactic throughout Season 1, 2 and 3, but as we can see, she's refined it little by little, and is now I think in a leading position in Bologna League, not having lost a single best of 5 yet. So, you can see, hard work and dedication pays off eventually, unless you fly through an Overlord when you want to drop. And Schnubiiii realized, no, did she? No, she did not. Yeah, unfortunately she does not really know where does she want to land. Does she want to land here? Does she want to land inside the main? There she is. The queen is in position, but only plants down a little creep tumor right in front, just showing... I mean, this queen really must be a real Scotsman, lifting the skirt and showing its ass, planting down creep, while the rest of the army drops. That was really disrespectful. The bad manner, ladies and gentlemen. The Scottish bad manner there by Schnubiiii. That was nicely done. Double drop by Grizzly, while trying to break the third. Also getting a few Marines into the natural base, but unfortunately there was a Spore Crawler, which hit that medevac pretty hard, and also some Banelings that killed a lot of these Marines and just barely escapes with this medevac over here, trying to get in once more with this medevac over here, trying to use her fabulous multitasking that she showed against her opponent last week. I think that was that Sitaska last week? I think it was Sitaska last week. So, yeah, like I said, trying to multi-prong harass at all pages, but Schnubiiii so far doing a good job of deflecting it. And, yeah, of course her minerals and gas is going up a little bit. So she's really busy trying to keep all these attacks from dealing damage. And like I said before, has been doing that quite good so far. Unfortunately for her, in the meantime, Grizzly has managed to get a third base up, is landing it right now. And once this gets saturated... Grizzly's production will just explode. Barracks almost done, so will be able to make immediate use of all the additional income that she will generate in a few seconds. So again, trying to take out these forces over here, but instead Grizzly gets the Overlord. So Schnubiiii running around from left to right, right to left, probably expects a few units to come in here because she's already realized if my opponent is attacking over on the right hand side, there's a big chance that she might also come in from the left hand angle. So let's see. Or from the left angle? I think you cannot really say left hand angle. And it is Lingbane Muta, so never mind. Schnubiiii mixing it up. No Road Ravager this time. Going for the pro composition here. Which, like I said, is a little bit more tricky to micro than Road Ravager. Well, in some parts. In other parts, Road Ravager can also be as tricky, since, like I said, you will lack air defense heavily. And so you really have to have your units in place at the correct time. But it's a different kind of macro, and a lot of people consider it to be a little bit more easy. Especially if you play against Bio Mine, then it's usually a little bit, or Bio Tank, it's usually a little bit considered to be a little bit more easy to micro your units around with Road Ravager than Lingbane Micro and the Mutas. So, upgrades incoming for Grizzly here. That's the 2-2 already, while Schnubiiii has not even gotten an evolution chamber. Probably so stressed out that she forgot about it. More units over here, but the Overlord saw them, so Schnubiiii knows where the attack is coming from. Moves in, has a few banelings ready, not all too many. The tank is in place as well, and also some mines. Big mine hits on a lot of these banelings here, and the other tank shot also brings a lot of these banelings down to yellow health. Woo! That was a big hit there for Grizzly. That could have almost been game-ending at that point in time. Sending across the map two other medivacs. Will probably try to attack into the natural base. There are some units ready, but we want to keep an eye on that. Now finally the mutas come in. Will take out the tank over here, and now she's able to finally reduce that count of medivacs, unless of course her opponent flies away. But that's of course always a small victory. So there's the second drop incoming. Let's see what she will accomplish over here at the natural base. There's a Spore Crawl in position. Maybe she will actually just avoid it and fly straight into the main, but this far... No, okay. Seems as if she just wanted to check for a potential base over here, or wants to walk into the fourth straight away. So let's see how this is going to work out. Units are not too far away. Should actually be able to clean this up fairly easily, but Schnubiiii really needs to replace all of these banelings, like ASAP. So here are the units moving in. We have 7 workers over here on the base. Will she be able to be there in time in order to save that base before it can get down? Mutas are flying in, and the banelings as well. So now she should of course always send the mutas right behind it. Grizzly immediately unloading all of her medivacs, knowing that she won't be able to escape from the mutas anyways. So she just wants to buy a little bit more time for the medivacs to escape, unloading all of these units, and all of these brave marines do not die in vain, because they can save their medevac chick. So, in the meantime, we have another drop over here, taking out at least a Vespine Geyser. Little victory here, not if she will lose all of these units. Well, okay, getting a good chunk of Schnubiii's units as well. There you can see the difference. Oh, actually, only no 2 kicks in, but still, it's still a difference in upgrades, and it will only grow. Finally, I think Schnubiii's realized that she's forgotten her Evo chambers, so she planted them down. Will now try to catch up a little bit at least in upgrades, but with 2-2 done and 1-1 just being started, it will take some time in order to catch up. Grizzly not going into 3-3 yet, might have forgotten it herself, or does not really have the resources actually in order to get it. Yeah, but that's something where you can just skip a few parts of your production round in order to get your 3-3 going, since it takes so much time anyways. So, but very good macro there by Grizzly. I mean, have a look at this mineral count. I mean, yeah, gas is excessive, but that's quite normal for Bioterran. Just having a few more, just a few too many refineries here, I feel. These two wouldn't have needed to be taken. Or you can take them for later on, once you don't have any more gas inside your main base. You can just easily saturate it, but yeah, having workers in this gas is totally unnecessary at that point in time. So, getting this Overlord kill over here has another two bases. So, and Schnubiiii, of course, that's like a nice maneuvering here. Schnubiiii expects the attack coming from the left-hand side, but now it will come in from the right angle, will take out this hatchery easily. Yeah, just wants to get these drones being evacuated here while killing the third base over there. Will easily move into the fourth and will also kill it. No way to save it anytime soon because the units are just too far away. Now the Lings are only streaming and no Banelings around, so a lot of these Lings will already get killed before the Banelings arrive. And nice splits there by Grizzly as well. Finally the Mutas get in, but Mutas alone will not do against the 2-2 Bioforce. Tries to snipe down at least a lot of these medevacs, as many as she can. More and more units arrive from the right side. Only Lings streaming in, but Lings alone just won't cut it. As these Mutas won't, so no chance to eventually destroy this. Yeah, and this is just the nightmare of every Zerg. Your units are gone, but Terran is still standing in your base. 2-0 for Grizzly. Ascension to Ayur is our third map. Our Zerg player spawning to the top left, it's Schnubiiii. And our Terran player spawning to the bottom right, it's Grizzly. Leading 2-0. Only needs one more map to close the series. Schnubiiii doing her best to fight against her Terran opponent. Had a lot of good engagements and a lot of close parts throughout the last two games, but just eventually never managed to get the upper hand. Let's see if she can change that on this map. Let's follow this SUV a little bit around. Come on, little SUV. Take us on a tour across Ascension to Ayur and show us all the fancy places. There's stairs and trees and old artifacts. And oh my god, there's a Zerg base. Overlord's doing the same. Don't really want to fly with these guys because they're just slow as hell. In the meantime, we have a factory straight after the first barracks. Interesting. Grizzly changing it up a little bit, getting the second gas immediately. So maybe this time around she wants to go for an earlier push than the 60 Marine one, or she just wants to make it even a little bit more quickly of a push. No 2-1-1 this time. Spawning pool, researching speed, all the good old stuff by Schnubiiii. Let's see what she decides to do this time, if she wants to go for a Roach Ravager based composition or rather Lingmain Muta. Lingmain Muta looked actually a little bit stronger throughout the last game, even though she got eventually overwhelmed. So Starport coming right behind it. So will we see a little mine drop here maybe? Let's see what this factory is going to produce. Nope, Hellions. Okay, never mind. So let's wait if there is an armory incoming, because that could mean that she just wants to go for an early Hellbat Marine pressure. Could also go for Hellion pressure on its own. But yeah, with the Starport coming in that early on, it might actually be some Hellbat pressure, because medevacs can heal Hellbats. So it would make sense to get an armory and then just make these units transform. In the meantime, Schnubiiii running in with 4 Lings, getting an SCV and a Marine. Will not get this mule, unfortunately. Tries to escape with all of these Lings, and Grizzly has secured her position for now, but revealed her Hellions. So Schnubiiii, already building the Roach Warren, will be able to probably deflect whatever kind of push Grizzly is planning. But there's the armory incoming. So as I said before, might just pressure a little bit with the Hellions, because Hellions are pretty fast units, so there's always the chance to send them in, deal a little bit of damage, maybe roast a drone here, roast a Zergling there, and then you can just always retreat and come back later, transformed into Hellbats. So has already a lot of these units in place, since the medevacs and the other units across the map towards this position. And we'll then probably just wait for the armorer to finish, transform these Transformers. And here goes. Halberds, mostly. Only Halberds, actually. And a Banshee follow-up right behind it with Cloak. But it's supply blocked right now. So Schnubiiii has a lot of Lings and only one Roach. Don't really know if she wants to engage with the Lings here. I think she can just... Maybe she should just try to build some time. Well, it gets a good surround on all of these Halberds here. But still, Halberds do tremendous amounts of damage against Lings. And there you see it. This is something a lot of players underestimate, thinking, well, I have a huge ass amount of Lings, I just come in and crush you, surround you and crush you, but no you don't. And that's why I said she might have just wanted to wait for more Roaches to pop before she actually engaged that army here. But yeah, now trading tremendously cost efficient here, Grizzly that is. Getting all of these units now even moving in. Like I said, the medevac healing at least one of these Halberds at a time, but there finally the Roaches come in. No way for Grizzly to save that. Is not loading in all of these units, was probably not paying attention at that point in time when the Roaches started to attack these Halberds. Could have easily loaded them in and saved them, but yeah, wouldn't have mattered that much anyways. So I don't think there's much he can do from now on. One more Roach incoming from the third base. Could have actually told Grizzly that there's a third base down to the south. But yeah, retreats for now. Not much he can do. Sends all her units back home as well. Shouldn't have maybe sent back the Banshee there. But there's Spore Crawlers in position anyways. Still, I mean, for a good Bansheeing player, there's always a chance to deal some damage. Ooh, drastically oversaturated gas geyser over here, unfortunately. So, another command center going down for Grizzly. Still managed to deal quite nice amounts of damage, especially getting rid of all these Lings with only that small, not even a handful of Halberds. Or maybe, actually there were 5, so never mind. Just a handful. Okay, Schnubiiii just realizes, okay, I just drove back a lot of units here. Maybe I can actually make something happen here with my Ravagers. So trying to throw down some Ravager bot on these bunkers. Has to be careful not to lose too many units here. Actually just wants to pressure a little bit, maybe even take out a few of these SUVs that got completely pulled away from the middle lines in order to repair this bunker. And now that's what I'm talking about, just raining some of these piles of justice on these SUVs, taking out at least 2, 4, even taking out the Halberd over here. More and more units arrive. One more bile would actually be able to rain down, but now Grizzly actually pulls all of her workers in order to really drive away that pesky push here, while attacking the third base with a Banshee here. Might even be able to take it out in the long run. Schnubiiii does not have a lair yet, is just starting it after realizing, damn, I don't have a lair, I can't morph an Overseer, so I just have to wait for something. Could actually just try to move a Spore Crawler in place, but it would take quite some time, and once it starts rooting, the Banshee could already start to work on it. No. Okay, there's only one Cloaked Banshee. Grizzly does not have another one in production. She could have sent over in order to take this out even more effectively, but yeah, that's just the worst feeling as Dirk, when you realize, damn, I forgot the goddamn lair. And now just can't morph in Overseers. Even though it's also so typical. I mean, after a Hellion push, the Banshee follow-up is so typical. And has been since Wings of Liberty. So yeah, you just sit there in front. I mean, it happens to everyone every once in a while. You just forget something you usually never forget. But of course, you forget it when it matters. So yeah, just sitting around having to wait. Has planted down another Spore Crawler over here in order to help defend against this Banshee here. Now it doesn't have enough energy anyways. But yeah, that was of course very costly there for Schnubiiii. Has to replace the third base over here. While of course Grizzly has already landed her own. So we'll even be able to saturate that fairly easily. I mean, this third base is wide open. So in a counterattack, this should be fairly difficult to hold actually. Yeah, Schnubiiii of course worried about her income right now, so she doesn't really want to go for attack. Grizzly achieved what she wanted to achieve, scared her opponent. so that she will stay at home. Might actually even be able to focus fire down that hatchery here if she really wants to. Yeah, just marches around a little bit, tries to focus fire down, but does not really want to risk losing a lot of her army in the process. Might even be able to just come in later. Yeah, now just playing Ring Around the Rosie. Just unloading a few of these units, unloading a few units over here. Wants to still target fire down this hatchery, but Schnubiiii doing a great job of splitting off her forces and will eventually be able to clear this push up without taking too much damage here. At the same time, the annoying Banshee trying to take out that hatchery over here once more. But finally, Overseer has arrived and we have a queen in position. This Banshee actually was already damaged, so it won't really stand a fight against this queen on its own. So creep is already being spread as well. Schnubiiii knows that she really needs to cover everything with creep in order to get her queens, which are the only anti-air, to every position as fast as possible, if need be. So Grizzly again trying to attack this fourth base over here, but it doesn't really work out. Grizzly in the meantime realizing, well, if you take a fourth base and do not really want to attack me, I'll take a fourth of my own. Don't really want to lose the economy game. Schnubiiii still waiting for drops. Knows that Grizzly is a pretty strong dropper. And Grizzly in the meantime, macroing like a god, or a goddess, more likely. Churning out more and more units and tanks, so actually having a good composition here, a few marauders in the mix and a few tanks. So we don't have combat shield though, it's just in production. And we don't have concussive shell as well. Actually still a nice little upgrade and not really that expensive. But of course, if you only have... well, she doesn't even. She actually has another tech lab available, so could easily just get concussive shell as well. The Marauder Slow, as it was also called, I think by Husky back then, because that's what the concussive shell does. It slows down the opponent that gets hit by it. So, stimming in a little bit early maybe, but getting a good surround on this base. Actually the only thing she really wanted to do. If need be, she could always retreat from here on out, but of course tries to take out as many units as she can. Tanks getting taken out, first tank, second tank as well, and the rest of the army escapes. But the damage has been dealt, maybe actually not that significant. Schnubiiii was able to secure most of the drones here, didn't really lose those. Still has a third base up, could actually even transfer a few drones over here. And the Banshee got denied as well. Of course has to retake that base, but the damage was not all too critical. She still has the mining bases, that's the important part. Yeah, but unfortunately her income is really in shambles. Well, like I said, it was quite low, but it's not too low. She doesn't have that many harvesters, and of course Terran has mules. But she's okay. She's still in an okay-ish shape and can come back from here. Has to deflect this push, of course. Okay, so far not too much damage dealt. 1 queen dies, 2 queen dies. That's of course still a good trade for Grizzly here. If she manages to secure all of her units here, we'll lose. Well, at least not that medevac over here. And they, like I said, they see the big problem with Road Ravager. Yes, it's pretty beefy, and yes, it deals a lot of burst damage, but getting rid of medevacs, it's such a pain in the ass without Mutus. So at one point, if Schnubiiii actually had ever managed to get a 4th base up, if Grizzly had not denied her that, then she would have had enough gas and enough resources in order to eventually go into Mutus and take down these annoying medevacs. But for now, there's just nothing she can do. Overload getting taken out, 4th base is now being saturated. Actually, I think Grizzly could even take an easy 5th, or at least a few more production buildings. Will probably do so in just a few seconds once she realizes that she's having a lot in the bank. And there we have it, the first Mutalisk. Actually, where's the Spire? Oh, there it is. Always missed it. And a few drones not working. Lazy French drones. What's up with them? So, Grizzly moving all the sides of the map to come in from the right angle. In total secrecy, no way that Schnubiiii...
I don't want to alarm anyone, but the base is being attacked.
Yeah, and Total Biscuit tells us that there's another attack, and of course, the good old plays by Grizzly. pretending to attack over the left-hand side, in reality attacking over the right-hand side with a bigger force, and Schnubiiii will not be able... Oh, maybe she will. Actually, ooh, never mind. These roaches got over here pretty quickly there. Nicely done, taking out the expensive siege tanks here, and might even be getting a small chunk of these Marine Marauder as well. That was actually nicely done by Schnubiiii, clearing off that over here and then just making all of these just bringing all of these units over to the 4th base in order to defend us as well. Nice move there by Grizzly as well. Just loading everything up, flying right into the Spore Crawler, maybe not the best move here. Might actually even lose that medevac over here, and will doing so. Ooh, and now of course a lot of these units are forfeit, because the medevac just can't really save all of them. Oh, there were more medevacs over here, so never mind. Could have actually saved those. And now we have a few Corruptors in the mix. Yeah, seems as if this was just an accident Mutalisk. The Mistlick. No, actually she wants to get a few Mutalisks. Maybe for the speed. Maybe for the possibility to hunt down Medivacs more effectively. But here's the big push incoming. I mean, so far both opponents are looking pretty even. Schnubiiii has done a great job of defending everything that Grizzly threw at her. But of course this is the real back baddie. The real back big bad wolf. Let's see if the Grizz can take on Leonardo DiCaprio or not. So coming in, good position here, not that good for Schnubiiii for just a moment here, having to fall on the choke point, but eventually, good mine connects, but that's what I said, mines do not really bother you as much if you're playing Roach Ravager. That would have been devastating hit if those were Ling Bane, so no problem there. Still at the same time, okay, the Marines have just moved over here, will eventually clear up that 3rd base, or that 4th base here, or won't they? Whoa, just barely saving it from the Marine Marauder force. So again, Schnubiiii just doing a great job keeping her opponent back. But at the same time, Grizzly as well doing a great job of expanding, of getting more economic advantage here, because she's already pretty far ahead with 70 to 55 workers. Actually a little bit too many for a usual Terran player here. But only a little bit, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, much better income in every department here, because Schnubiiii just never had the time in order to get all of her bases saturated. And once she did, the army just moved in and killed everything. So pretty annoying for her, pretty frustrating. But now she's on the move. Wants to take out one of these bases of Grizzly, and might actually be able to do so. I mean, these barracks are actually pretty much in the way if it comes down to moving over here, and this base might even actually die. At least all of these SCVs die over here. With a few corrosive piles, she might actually even be able to take down that orbital command. Now streams in a little bit late maybe. Does not really want to engage too far into this fortified position here. There's no way she can actually get out all of these tanks. I think she does not realize how many tanks there actually are, and she stands under siege fire for quite some time, taking a tremendous amount of damage. Woo! That was actually not quite worth it. Should have retreated after getting this orbital command, but yeah, like I said, underestimated the position a little bit there. Was probably not realizing how many tanks there were sieged right behind these barracks there, and there was no way to engage into the choke point. At the same time, we have another big push by Grizzly over the left-hand side, while she was holding her own push. I mean, like I said, the macro is just amazing by Grizzly. Always moving, always pulling, is now at max supply to the 137 of Schnubiiii. Schnubiiii will be able to clean up that push down here eventually, since the medevacs got killed by the Corruptors, but she will not be able to save this base over here this time, because it's already low on health. Gets taken out once more, and that is now critical damage here, because Schnubiiii just does not have another 4th up and cannot even build one at the time, while Grizzly is already on 5 bases. Trying to get 3-3 right now, might even eventually be able to clean off that push at last. Yeah, just barely, but it does not really matter as much, like I said. I mean, every unit she loses is now very costly for Schnubiiii. Grizzly even... Yeah, Grizzly knows she does not really need these units anymore. Can just send them in. Whatever she kills is a win for her. While attacking again with the next big force marching across the map. Nevertheless, does not really want to die her units in vain. Good commander there. Good commander. I trust that commander. I'd fight for her. She does not let units die in vain. Okay, takes them in. Yeah, and of course that's just the best thing. Keeping Schnubiiii busy up here while attacking in the south. And we'll take out the last remaining mining base of Schnubiiii. And that will be it, ladies and gentlemen. Expect GG any minute, because there's not much that Schnubiiii can do at that point in time. Even if she clears up that force in here, she will not be able to clean up that force down here. Good upgrades, good moves for quite some time, but eventually Grizzly prevails and takes the series 3-0.